How's that? Good evening and welcome back after this 4-week hiatus. We've been gone for a while, and yeah, guess what? I went and got COVID. That's the real reason, the truth. So bouncing back. This is the first one back. Wanted to get back into normal life. So if you're here watching, this is our 6th broadcast from the Ableton Certified Trainer channel, and I'm Simon, if you've never been here before. And the idea of this is to just look at music and how we go about making music. Obviously in Ableton Live. I'm an Ableton Certified Trainer, use all kinds of software and stuff. But yeah, you know, that's kind of the main theme here. And then we have a special guest. So, and always alongside me, I have my partner in crime, who should be right here, is Tim. Tim, how you doing, man?
I'm all right, thanks, pal.
Yeah,
It's good to see you again. We've not spoke that much over the last few weeks, but you've been
no,
completely KO'd, have we?
yeah, literally horizontal. But you know, I won't bring it up again. But
You
I
like to
probably
bring
will.
it up though. You enjoy it. I know you do.
I
We
know.
sit in the studio and you're going, did I mention I was ill? Yeah, yeah, you did, Sam. Yeah,
Yeah. So okay, you know what's going on. I'm just having a quick look in the chat room. Yeah. Oh, we got some people here. Right. So thanks for joining us. Oh yeah, all the way from South Africa, man. That's
We've
amazing. Right.
got someone from
Amazing.
Colorado as well, which is nice.
Oh right. Yeah. It's like morning there, isn't it?
Peace,
So
Pete.
we've been away for a bit. Okay, but that gave us chance to get 2 guests lined up already. So this evening we have the amazing LIINA, aka LNA Does Audio Stuff. We missed the stuff off the Facebook post. You got to have the stuff on there.
Is she gonna
LIINA
be
is
mad?
awesome, and she's going to be joining us around 8 o'clock. And again, we've picked these good guests, you know, because they've always got something great to talk about and show, and they're really like enthusiastic about the whole music making process, which is why we want people on, which is amazing. And the week after, we've got Helena Rice. So we've got LIINA tonight and Helena next week. No, nothing confusing. And I'll make sure that I'm going to play one of Helena Rice's video at the end from her last track, I think. You can tell me if I'm wrong, Helena. I think you're in the chat there. Terrain. I'm going to play that, or Terrain, how I want to say it. But this Friday, and I'll make sure I'll let you know about this in a bit more detail. But this Friday, Helena is doing this thing called Breaks. You've got to check this out, guys. If you just go onto Facebook and look for Helena Rice, I'll post this. So if you have a look, Tim, it's on Facebook. It's Helena Rice, and it's called Breaks, and it's a virtual live stream premiere. Now she's doing some amazing things with Twitch and the Unity engine, the gaming thing, and there's lots of kind of. I don't want to misquote and say anything, but Helena's going to come on next week and tell us how she went about it, and it's really cool. And at the end of this broadcast, we'll play her last video. It's got some amazing visuals, and it's kind of like this great futuristic music with these amazing visuals. It's just great. So check it out. If you get the link, Tim, just let me know and we'll show it later.
What am I searching for again, pal? Helena
Helena,
something
Halina.
breaks
I mean, I'll put a link in the chat for
chat.
everybody to see anyway. So
Cool.
I'll do that because it's multitasking. It's crazy.
It
Hey
doesn't
there,
like
Luke
me, but
Denning
it doesn't
there.
like me.
Well, I don't know why. So there's the link to Helena's event. Go check this up. I'm going to watch this on Friday night. And the last one was just wicked. And it's had about sort of the video for the singles about 9,000 views or something like that. Really cool. So go and check it out. But let's talk about this evening. So stream okay, Tim, from what you've seen?
All good, all good.
Good. It's getting back into it. It's like riding a bike. No,
Or
it's
many
not.
bikes.
No, it isn't. Okay, so let's switch to this. So we're okay. So I'll just share my screen. You know, when you're on a Zoom, something, yeah, just share my screen. I hate saying it. Just like, so what we're going to look at, in the kind of spirit of, if you haven't seen some of LIINA's videos, she like picks some like Ableton devices or even a concept, you know, sort of composition stuff. And she's going to talk about that later, so I won't jump on that. But one thing that Tim and I were talking about is how to make stuff not sound as static. Now, we both play guitar, bass, and sing and write songs and stuff like that. So we're used to kind of playing instruments. So when we kind of, you know, sort of get into like sequencing MIDI, it's the complete opposite of when we play a guitar. It just doesn't do what we want it to do. I mean, you know, I'm selling myself short. I ain't that bad. But Tim's still getting to grips with it, aren't you, mate?
Yeah, always.
And well, I am too. I'm only messing. But so what we've actually done this track, which we will play it, and it was at like, it's quite slow, isn't it? It's about 70 BPM or something. Or it's really plodding, maybe a bit faster. It's like a sort of hip hop thing, and we'll play it because it's kind of like got sort of images and news reports cut in and stuff like that. It's just a thing that we're doing as Lostlight, but we'll play you that in a few weeks because. But this track is basically, I just thought, right, I'm going to just use the chords and remix it and mess around with it just to get back in the swing of things. Obviously, I've been off the grid for a bit, so I just did this the other day and somehow ended up with 29 channels of nonsense. So first thing, I just came up with some chords, right? And these chords we actually used in the other track, but see if I just press play. There you go. Can you hear that all right, Tim? Can you hear it there?
I'll go.
Okay, so trusty Wavetable came up. Now, I've told you to use Wavetable like all the time. Like Wavetable and Operator, if you got Suite, just use them. They're just like, you can get so far and you know where you are with them. You know what I mean? It's like, obviously I use other stuff as well. I mean, I'm using some Arturia stuff further down there, but you can just sculpt sounds really well. So I came up with this, and I just to show you that the idea is I had these chords and they were quite static. If I just show you where we are. Now, obviously, based on some of the stuff I've talked about before, if you don't know what the chord is and you've played something in, now in this case, all I knew was an A and an F. I think it's A minor. So if you use the MIDI monitor, it'll tell you what chords they are. So you can just see. You've got an A minor, and I think add a note on it somewhere. Add 9. I didn't know that. F major 7, and I put a. So that makes it this. So essentially 4 chords. Okay, so it's quite sort of static, and just by doing really simple things like just the frequency here. If I like move that up and down and then think, well, what do I want to change that? And if I go to these modulation sources, basically what I want to do is get this LFO, low frequency oscillator, and I want it to move the filter frequency. That makes sense, Tim? So rather than me sort of move this like this, we've got this LFO, which if you go these modulation sources, it sounds like really complicated, doesn't it? But just LFO1, and it's going like this. This is the shape it's going, and at a rate of a quarter note. Yeah? So it's going 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's like where it is in that sequence there. It goes all the way up and all the way down again. So what I'm going to do is get that to move the frequency. Okay? So, makes sense so far? I'll just bring that down a bit. So, if I go to the matrix, so basically if you start moving things, it adds it to this list. But that's the target there, see, target. I can zoom in as well. I forgot I can do all this. So it's been a while. Have I said that it's been a while? So the target now is the filter frequency, right? And it was being controlled by the envelope before. I'll just put that back to where it was. So we want LFO1 to do it. If I touch that and start moving it now, this should happen. So I don't want to move it that much. Even if you use like a really subtle, there you go.
So are you there with the figure that you're putting in LFO1? Are you telling it the range of change from the starting point that you want?
Yeah, so that there is like literally plus and minus. If I put it the other way, it will go the opposite way. But I want it to go. So that's one way. And if I go into the source itself, LFO1, now I can change that. But the idea is that is going on a quarter note. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's just the simplest way I could think of. Do it like that, and you can do it all within one synth. Now, for those of you who have heard, I mean, got so many things over the years, but more recently, something like Biceps and I heard, I think it's Apricot, the last sort of single that they put out, and it's kind of breakbeat. Tim, I don't know if you heard me banging on about Bicep.
Yeah, you're on a bit of a Bicep binge at the minute.
Well, I just, they're just like, it's like Orbital to me because I'm old school, yeah. But it's kind of like that sort of Orbital vibe and breakbeats and stuff like that. So, I mean, I've been making that sort of stuff for years, but I never like released any or put any out. But I heard them do that, and I know they use Ableton Live anyway. But I thought I recognise that way, and we'll talk about this when LIINA comes. LIINA's just done a video on all the features of the auto filter, and I saw that and I thought, oh yeah, and there are like 4 devices within Ableton Live that all have a sidechain, and you can use in different ways. You got the compressor. There's 2 compressors. We've got auto filter and a gate. So what we've often talked about, Tim, is that if you've got a drum beat or some chords, by using the sidechain, if it's like when we're doing something like a bit more housey or techno or something, you use the compressor to duck out the way, right? So that, or it came from radio, when people are talking on radio, when the music was playing, as soon as they start talking, they would duck it out of the way when they start talking, and you put a compressor on and use the voice was the kind
as the trigger for
exactly
the compressor moving out the way. Yeah,
trigger is the key word here, right? Okay, so I've made somewhere a trigger channel, right, to demonstrate this. So the idea is that there's lots of devices, and in other DAWs you can do this, and some people think it's easier, but the thing is that with Live you can route this quite simply. So what I'm going to do is do the same thing, but I've just moved away from the wavetable for now because I had this particular sound. So what I'm going to use is the same chords. So this has got this already on, right? It was just down there. So that's without. So without the auto filter, nice chord, but with the auto filter on, it's much better, isn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to put the filter back where it was because I had it positioned. So sidechain from. Now what we're going to use a trigger. So audio from triggers, right? So I've set these triggers up, and the idea is, what I was going to say to you is that I'm not going to play guitar now, but what you could do if you wanted the chord to go da 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 da, right? You could literally record yourself strumming that rhythm, very percussive, into any audio channel. In this case, like if you did it and you call it triggers, it would then be the source, the audio from. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So wherever this audio from is triggers. Now this is a group I've made. So on one of them, I've just got an 808 kit, and I've done this. This is the. So I've got the volume turned down because I don't want the volume to come through, but I'll just turn it up so you can hear what I've done. So cowbell. So that's the rhythm it's doing, yeah? Whilst I'm here, I'll just show what the other ones are. Busier is. So I can go in there and, I sometimes find that if you actually make them really short, you can do a bit more with it. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to use that one. And then on the other trigger channel, I've got a drum beat. So I've just got that there, sort of just for the sake of it. And then here, I've got me clapping from before. I just did it with I'll probably do one in real time if we've got time. But yeah, the idea is, no, it probably won't. So this is me just clapping. And this is me just going. So that's your challenge this week, to record on. Or to put some chords down, even those string things you did the other day, and then use your guitar or vocal. You could just go ba 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 ba. And that's
so create a part as a trigger. Cool.
Create loads of triggers. There's no MIDI keyboards. We're not doing it. I drew those in. I didn't play anything using a MIDI instrument. And it's just because when I first heard like all this stuff years ago, I was like, how are they doing that? Didn't know. No idea. But it's all to do with like Studio Voodoo. So those are my triggers. Now I'm going to turn the volume down from the actual channel. We don't want to hear them come through. Although sometimes you might want to, and it kind of brings your track together eventually. So here's the where are we now? I lost it. The Juno. So here's this one. So you can hear a bit of something going on, but the sidechain, set, triggers, we're in already. So the key thing here is the envelope. This is how much the incoming signal affects the filter frequency. So if you forget that, and you're thinking, what did he say? Put that on there. Envelopes. Oh, there you go. I got it pretty much right. The extent. I missed the word extent out. So it's the extent to which the envelope affects the filter frequency. So the more that is, the more it kind of zooms across the screen. Now, it doesn't actually move. If you use something like an LFO device or something, you can actually see it move, but you just have to use your ears.
You know what? I'm really glad you said that, because the last time I've attempted this through watching you in our studio sessions, I've attempted it, failed miserably. But I couldn't. I think I failed because I couldn't see that line moving. I thought if I'd not got the values set right at that moment, I wouldn't be getting any result from it. In the cans either.
Right. Well, so exactly, it's one of the things that, you know, sometimes there's visual feedback, sometimes there isn't. But you know, it would really look confusing. But you know, maybe something in the future. So if I do this now, the envelope, put it there. And the release is just like, you know, we did the what did we do recently? The spectral resonator thing. You know, it was kind of holding on to the notes and then you let it go. Same thing, if you put a really, really slow release, it's going to be really like snappy and spiky.
I like that.
So I think the best thing is to bring that right back. So it kind of gives you a rhythm that you couldn't really play. Do you know what I mean? Because there's this like movement in it and stuff like that. I mean, some people like design synth patches all day using this sort of thing, and it's just like, but this is, does that kind of make sense how to do that?
Yeah, no, definitely.
And the next one is, here's one I made earlier, same chords, and I've done the same thing, it's a different sound. So obviously you can make them last longer. I've got, shorter. Sort of thing. I just thought I'd do it 3 times. It's a bit of a richer sound. You want some drums, don't you? Yeah? Some drums?
Yeah, I do.
I got some here, I think. Oh, no, I want
always
pink ones.
Pink drums.
I don't need that many synths, I don't think. Bass as well. I got some bass somewhere. There you go. Actually, while I'm at him, bass.
That bass is cool.
Well, check this out, right? I've actually used Guitar Rig 6. Guitar Rig 6. I managed to get that. Did I say I was ill? I got it just after, wasn't it? But
you ill,
it's pretty good. I've used this preset and I just move this around, but it's it's a good improvement. Like, check this out. This is the cabinet sound. For those people who have a chance to that, I think it's you can get it as part of the the ultimate packages and things that they do, but I just got it separately. But so usually I have to do that by. Can you hear the difference? Does it come across over there?
Yeah.
Like the room mic.
Yeah.
So, you get the right blend between those, between the cabinet and the room. Like that's 60-40, but you sort of like get the definition of the amp up close.
It sounds cool, that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I got you a good price. But it's because what it's got, all these things like reflector and the solid bus, these were all separate Native Instruments plugins. They put them all into Guitar Rig, and it's pretty cool, man. So I've tried this against one of my UADs, and I was going to show you. I thought, we've only got like 20 minutes, so but it's pretty good, man. It's just pretty good. So that's just Yeah, I thought I'd show you that anyway. So.
See, I've been put off that. Luke's just said he got Guitar Rig 6, but it's too CPU intensive. Well, my computer's on the blink at the minute.
All right, have you been using it already? Well, yeah, I've just tried it and thought, but it's just kind of, it's really quick, and just to flick through that and do that blend and know where it's going to fit in the mix, I kind of like that. You know what I mean? It's kind of, you know, you might do it and leave it, and it just fits. Anyway, so obviously I got me little. You got to have a bit of that, yeah. You know what I mean? Just a bit of like sort of a. I do like that. I use that a lot actually, the low extender preset, and just blend it in. Anyway, so we got that. Here we have the drums. Oh, crazy mouse! It just freaks out. So then
I'm in.
You in?
Yeah, I'm in.
What happened to me? What happened to me?
The bit that you were showing
right.
us.
So,
yeah.
Do you know why it wasn't working? Because
What?
my trigger wasn't playing. If I don't have a trigger playing, it won't play the chords yet. Schoolboy error. You know what I'm going to use? Put the original Wavetable in as well.
Do it.
It's on the offbeat though.
I like it.
Yeah. Anyway, so using like that way, and another thing as well that so that's using the filter, and again, go and watch. You've got to go and watch LIINA's video. I'm going to put some links when LIINA comes on. I'll put the links to all her YouTube and stuff like that. And she's done like a breakdown of all the stuff you can do with the auto filter. I mean, I use auto filter on every single track. I just use it for the character, the drive, stuff like that. So yeah, but the challenge, the task, Tim, is to get some chords, and rather than sort of like worry about the rhythmic aspect, try and have a go at like influencing them by a guitar, by a vocal. But just to show you that one actually, that I didn't do it. But if I just put this as the trigger, I'll just solo the chords. So I did that. I'll change the trigger. That's from before. If I change it to these drums, if you listen to this one, sorry. So that's kind of, you know, it sounds a bit retro. But if I bring the actual drum in as well, you'll hear it like sort of gel.
Cool.
But obviously I'd give that drum some. And you know, you can do all sorts you can automate or make some little macros where the gain here, like I can just sort of bring more signal in so it's more aggressive and stuff like that. But have a go, because it kind of like I sort of liberated me like when I first realized I could do that, and using other instruments to kind of as triggers, because you get sounds you wouldn't normally get, and it just gives you a bit more of an individual sound, doesn't it? So
yeah, like you said, when you bring the drums in, then they really like gel together. It's like they were created together. They're being created simultaneously, aren't they?
yeah. So I mean, I used to do like a lot of dubstep and things like that, and where if you do that kind of thing where the drums are triggering us, like even just like a snare would just open up like a sound that only plays when the snare hits, because you can actually say I only want this, so you put the gate on there, or the auto filter, and then every time that hits, it just goes and just opens it up, because ideally, well, no, ultimately you've only got a left and right, you've only got 2 channels, so the kind of the dubstep thing was maximum all the time, but just bring things in and out only when they need to be in and out, because if you leave things lingering, it's going to take up headroom and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of the thing, that the idea was to get organic. But I mean, this is just some crazy sketch left over from the other track we were doing. But you know, keep it a bit simple. I just gone a bit nuts there, really, as usual.
I think that usually results in good things, doesn't it?
Right. So before LIINA turns up, because she'll be here in about 4 minutes, shall we mention what you mentioned earlier about?
Let's
because we're still
let's
formulating the plan, so it's kind of
So yes,
you know,
this is a bit ad hoc, this guys. But I had an idea this morning. Me and Simon were thrashing it out. So what we're thinking to do to like add another feature to this webcast is we're going to ask the guests that have already been on to contribute to
and a few
track.
future ones as well.
And the future ones as well, but we'll obviously do multiple, otherwise it'll get unmanageable. Anyway, I digress. So if what we're planning on doing is say maybe getting 3 channels together. We'll start a track, we'll fire it round to each of our guests who can contribute to that track. We'll call it a day once we get to a certain point, and then we want to fire it over to you guys for either arrangement, mixing, a composition with that. You can even take a 12-bar sample from all the stuff that you've got and make a composition from it, and then fire it back over to us. And we'll pick a winner, and you guys can, whoever wins can come on and tell us how they made it. So you can be our guest for that week.
Yeah, it's not that there'd be a winner. It's just like a bit more involvement, so that like, you know, we can use elements made by other people. So the sound design aspect initially is kind of, okay, we've got this sound, that sound, and then we'll put it together. But we'll probably put like a set together in session view, and then you do whatever you want with it. And then if you're up for it, you can either do a little iPhone video and just go, this is how I made this, guys, and blah blah blah. I was thinking of this because we're interested in the sort of the composition process, and this is what we're going to talk to LIINA about shortly. It's like it's always like the mind game, the headspace, because no matter how good a producer you are or technically what you know, we all have barriers. Yeah, we've all faced that. No matter how great you are, you can have every sound available to you. Well, pretty much I'm in that position most of the time. It's like everything, every sound you need, like that would have blown my mind as a teenager. We've got them, you know, you got access to it, but what are these barriers? So I think a challenge always works. The most things I've done are remixes because somebody sets me a deadline and it's a challenge, like, yeah, I want to do this, you know. So
I mean,
that's the reason that we were thinking of doing it, because it involves you guys and us and the guests and everything. So
key point is, guys, we need a bit of feedback from you in the chat. We'll move on, but if that sounds like something that some of you would like to see and like to participate in, then let us know, because we're still fleshing out the idea, and if it's worth pursuing, we'll know.
Well, and we're probably going to do it anyway.
Probably, yeah.
Right, okay, so we're going to let LIINA in because she's been really patient and waiting, but a couple of shout-outs. Lee Robinson, easy all. Have I missed much? Nothing, mate. It's been rubbish. No, but you can always watch it back anyway, pal. You know what I mean? And just warming up, Lee. Yeah, I see what you're saying there from Sheffield. Wicked. And Richie, hi. Hope all is cool. Do give me a ring, Richie, if you need to, because, anyway, we'll talk about that. And, let's do it.
Oh, God. We've got people that are up for the idea as well. Hold your horses. One last thing before we switch over.
Okay.
Because we've been doing a crap job of selling this channel and selling our own channel. So, guys, if you haven't already, it's the usual jazz. Whenever you're watching YouTube, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and the little bell at the side of it. Get yourself over to Simon Lyon Music, Simon's YouTube channel as well, and subscribe over there, and you'll get more Simon than you can.
Yeah, because we're going to do some really off the wall stuff. Yeah. Oh, and Photon says great idea. Idea. I mean, you know, we expect good things from you, Photon, or Foton, aka Dave. Nice to see you, man. Right. Okay. Yeah. Good point, Tim. Good point. Right. Okay. So let's let LIINA in. But you said you were going to share your screen, Tim. So let's share screen with LIINA's website, and we can bring her in, and it just looks like we know what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yep.
I'll wait till you do that. LIINA will come in.
There
you go. All right. Okay. Just nice backdrop there. Just get the.
I wouldn't see LIINA on a video. The video's better. There we are. That's better.
Yeah, you got it. We can just see your main desktop.
Can we really?
Yeah.
I've managed to make a mockery of this yet again.
Sorry, you just come out the screen. There you go. That vibe will work. Boom. There you go. Right. Okay. I'm gonna go and get LIINA. She's coming. Yeah, this is her making the. Oh, she's here. She's here. Oh, there you go. You're playing pots and pans on here. Ta-da!
Give us a voice. Give us a voiceover, LIINA.
Yeah, give us.
Tell us about the process.
That's the voiceover.
Yeah.
Good to be here. Yeah, that's my great website with a little bit of a That's the Voclear Doppler studio kit, the microphone on the top of it. And I
yeah.
MIDI mapped the sounds of the pots and pans. So I was actually making beats on Ableton using the pots and pans as a MIDI controller.
Yeah, that's wicked. I've watched that one. Just if you can, Lena, gives a little bit more level on your mic.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Da, 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 da. Is that better?
I think so. Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
Just somebody in the chat room put audience participation homework is welcome. Yeah, we're just trying to do some. We're just trying to do something. We want everyone to have fun and come back, even if it's just me and Tim and a few. It's great.
We'll be here anyway.
We'll be here. Lena, awesome to see you.
Lovely to meet you, Lena.
And
well, lovely to meet you as well. And thanks so much for having me. This is very exciting. I was actually a bit nervous. I don't really get nervous too much.
You're not
I
nervous.
actually got a bit nervous.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, it's just for those people who haven't seen you or any of the stuff you do, most people know you. Well, most people who don't know you personally would know you from your LNA Does Audio Stuff, which is amazing. How long has that channel been going? Because it's grown at an exponential rate.
Oh, so much. Yeah. I started it 2019 February. So I had my 2-year birthday last February.
2 years.
So
yeah?
2 year, and I've been posting twice a week for 2 years. No, sorry, once a week. Every single Sunday, 8 a.m. I wake up. My husband is like, oh, again. Because I'm like, I put alarm. I post on socials. I do that every single Sunday, over 2 years now.
So every Sunday, you've never missed one?
And I have not missed one, no.
Oh, you're smashing it.
Yeah, well, to be honest, that just shows how dedicated that you are. And that's why you've got that many followers. And that's why it's genuine. It's genuine. Like,
put it this way, Lena. We try and we commit. We'd say that we're dedicated, and I used to manage about 2 posts a week, which is crap. But
See, you know what? I graduated from my music production masters like a couple years back, and I was 26 when I graduated. I think 27, and I got into being a lecturer for when I was 27.
It's all about the cash.
In Leeds College of Music. And then after that, I was just like, no, during that time, actually, that was before, I was like, you know what? I want to make this my career. I was like so determined. Like after I graduate from my master's, like, this is my thing, I need to make it work. So I was like, yeah, if I want to make it work, I need to commit. And so I made it my job. So I think this as my job and not as it's my hobby as well, but it's also my job.
Anything that you can do when you wake up in the morning and you don't go, oh, I've got to go to work.
Exactly.
Then you have made it. That's it. You've made it.
This is my full-time profession now. And, this plus being a music producer, being a musician, educator, and I run my company as well and other extra stuff in there. But, it's I think because of this YouTube, I have managed to make it my career.
Oh, good.
So
awesome. Wicked. Well, we're big fans and constantly referring to your work in most of my day-to-day stuff anyway. So absolutely. And tell us a little bit about one of our other excellent Ableton dudes, Emily. You work with Emily to do Equalize.
Yes.
Do you want to get a little bit about that as well? Because it's kind of it's an important thing to you, isn't it? That.
Oh, absolutely. And it's important thing for the whole audio industry.
Yeah.
It's not only for us, and it's not only so basically Emily and me, we met about 2 years ago. Again, 2 years is like a thing. And we started a company together, and now we just hired 2 more people, so we're expanding. But what we do is we're called Equalize Music Production, and we basically arrange courses for women and non-binary people right now. And we are expanding to all minority groups in audio. So because women and non-binary people are 2.6% of music producers, like in the world, 2.6%. So what we're doing is trying to not only to encourage women to be and non-binary people and gender minorities to be in the industry and studios, but we're also trying to make those studios so hopefully help men to also make these spaces more approachable for everybody, so that because it's not the fact that people are not interested, everybody is interested, but It's just about, do you have the confidence to go to these places? So that's why we started the company.
Brilliant.
And it's growing so fast as well.
No, it's awesome. And also the fact that you called it Equalize is probably one of the best things you could have called it, because it's literally to balance out frequencies.
Exactly. Just equalize music production. That's the only thing that we want to do.
Brilliant.
Is just equalize it.
Absolutely love it. I thought we should talk about that, because it's definitely something that I've seen.
Well,
and
you
noticed
helped so much for us, so it's been your good support. So it's we couldn't have done it all with all of your support.
Oh no, it's wicked.
Without all your support, that I said English wrong.
No, it's okay. Your English is better. Your English is better.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, your English is better than most of my friends. And I said that to Shona today, and I said no, like most people that I speak to, English is their second language, like day to day, and it's like no, most of you do speak better than my friends do in English.
Well, on my YouTube channel, it's kind of turned into this like a thing. So I constantly say like quantization. I just say like things.
But it's part of the vibe. Yeah. I love it. I
did a video about compressor. And people like the comment section was like, excuse me, it's compressor, not compression.
I think if people are commenting that, then they've got
exactly.
the problem, not you.
So So I mean, one thing that we've talked about is like confidence, and the whole like sort of the ethos behind me and Tim doing this is to kind of like, there's already tons of channels that and this is a segue to what you're doing as well. There's already tons of channels that do techniques. If I want to know how to get the perfect snare, I can type that into YouTube and I can go and spend all night trying to do the perfect snare. So it's like, even though I'm an Ableton certified trainer and I help people make music using Ableton and demystify stuff and things like that, every guest that's been on here, everybody that's involved, including everybody in the audience, we're all making music for whatever reason, because we love it mainly, and that's what we just can't stop doing. So one thing we've talked about, and I'll kind of let you lead on from now into your own music making, because I know you've got something coming up and we got stuff to talk about and you got something to show as well. But it's one word that comes up is confidence, and Tim and I can relate both to this. And I did say just before you came on that it's like, no matter how many skills you have, how many guitars you've got, the best gear, because most of these, especially the Ableton Live users group on Facebook, which we all posted. But some of the questions, man, they're just mind-blowing. They're just like, it's all about, what is the best VST for this? And it's like, just, it's like, but because that's, they're speaking the language which they think people want to hear, but it's just like, hey, Matt, how do I just make a tune?
The audience, interesting. Like, we had a little conversation about this before, Simon, and I think, like, what I'm actually studying this subject for a reason that I'm not going to tell now, but there's the things coming up in the future why I'm researching this topic a lot. But why I'm kind of concentrating a lot of confidence, and especially on my YouTube channel, is the fact that we all feel insecure and we all think that the next person knows more than we do. We always feel that the audio, you go into the studio environments, we think that the guy who goes, oh yeah, I have the best compressor. No, I have the best compressor. That's Tim. Dude.
What's the compressor again?
Sorry, compressor.
Compressor.
That was, I don't know if I'm even saying it correctly anymore, but we all know that person who is like, it's audio industry is full of this, the value of we think that the value of how much we know defines us as a producers, or define other people's as producers. The amount of gear we have defines as our professional level, or the amount of money we have used into our studios. Like, example, looking at us here, Simon is definitely the best one because you have those guitars there.
It's
you
just
have
the
all
angle of the camera.
Studio. Exactly. But
it took time over that, LIINA.
But it's what we associate straight away. And that makes us so much pressure for our music making, actually learning it, because as soon as we don't get something, as soon as we don't have money, as soon as any of that, we think it's our fault. We think that we are the ones who are in wrong, even though it's like nobody knows shit. Like, that's just the fact that, and everybody knows everything and nobody knows anything. And it's just, we're all in the same level. And yeah, it's about confidence and how you can just not ask validation and just do your thing.
Exactly.
But it's easier to say than done.
Always.
I know, no, I'm with you. I'm always banding around the word honesty because, and I think I'm saying the same thing as you. It's like, well, if you commit to making it how you really see it and not how that is trammeled by expectation, then you're going to create something, and the chances are it's going to be something special. Even it's going to be something special to somebody.
Absolutely. You know what? There's a thing that I always say to my students is that I always refer to RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm like the biggest fan. So what RuPaul says is that RuPaul, the drag queen. Yeah. So she
never
says
heard
that
of him.
if we're born naked and rest is drag. And I always think that with audio as well is that we have science, which is right, which is the correct, we can't really argue with like how sine waves are formed and what's this like all these different, how filters work or envelope work and stuff. But rest is drag, rest is opinions, rest is just rest is opinions. And when we go to YouTube, when we go to universities or something, these teachers' opinions are still opinions. And you know what I mean?
It's absolutely.
Get the science right, and how to make music, because then you can just trust yourself.
Yeah, good. We solved the world. There it is.
We
can end early now.
You learn you learn the outlines, you learn techniques and different people's opinions, so that you have a period of discipline, so that then you know where the edges are when you're actually pushing out and being undisciplined and doing what you want to do rather than other people's opinions. Yeah. I'm with you.
Absolutely. But the hardest point is how to break through that, and especially if you're a beginner, to really realize what's right and what's wrong, because you think that there is right or wrong. But the fact is that there's not. Only science is kind of right, but then rest is just, there's not really right or wrong way to do anything. So when example, teaching compressor,
we love it.
Then example, how many people ask you, but how much threshold? How much ratio? How should I use this? How much? And I'm like, well, it depends. Firstly, it just depends why you're doing it. Secondly, it depends of the signal. It depends of everything.
Program material. It's based on the program material, isn't it? It's like, is somebody shouting? Is somebody whispering? Is somebody female voice, male voice, everything? All those factors, And even then, it's like, even if there's guidelines, but it's just like, well, if it sounds good to you, then it's right.
Exactly. Also, I think it was Olga Fitzroy who said once that, like, if something sounds good and it's made with like really cheap gear and it's just like made in your bedroom, but it sounds amazing, then why to reinvent the wheel? Like, if it exists and if it sounds amazing. And she says also is like, if you mix your song in a bedroom, then you're a mixing engineer. If you produce beats, then you're a producer. But I think there's this certain level of pressure of like, you need to be this level, you need to have this gear to be the producer.
There's a psychological aspect to that as well. I mean, within yourself, sometimes you can hesitate to refer to yourself as that thing. And if you you are that thing, don't wait for a time when you're going to become it, because it's
actually the whole issue.
I think we lost a little bit of the stream there, but if anyone just let me know if you did, because it just the screen went blank. I don't know why.
Yeah, we.
Did you see that? Anyway, we're back. We're back on. It's cool. We're about 10 seconds behind, I think, everybody. So just let us know we're back on, everyone. But it's a good segue anyway to, yeah, we're back on. I can see it now. So with all that, we definitely got we're onto a subject there for sure. That's I'm sure we can do more about. Yeah, lost signal, or is it just me? No, it's you. We're back. Let's just see. Hang on, we are back on. This is the great challenge when. There you go. No. Yeah, there you go. Somebody's just crapped it. Oh, about 10 seconds. Gone here too. We'll just wait till you all catch up. We're back on. We're back on. Back. There you go. Everybody can see it now. Because this 10-second delay makes it just even funny. But right. So whilst everybody joins us back. So obviously everyone we've had on is a musician. First and foremost, that's how you got into it. So if you want to let us know a little bit of a journey, what you did first, because I watched a video of you today, the live one you were doing outside.
Oh yeah.
Is that your back garden?
No.
Because it looks pretty cool. If that was your back garden.
I don't have a back garden.
Yeah, I was going to say because
I don't have any kind of garden, no balcony and anything.
So is that a park in York or something? Because it looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a park in York, just by the river.
Right,
it's a really nice park, but it was the only day that was it wasn't raining. But
all right, well, so that's cool. And your vocal was great as well. I've not really heard you sing much, so
I don't think many have.
Well, no, it's good. It's good. You want to check it out, Tim? It's good. And yeah, so just tell us a little bit about the kind of the journey from getting into music and doing stuff, and then move into like what you're working on right now and what's coming, sort of thing.
Right. Okay. I need to summarize this, but
yeah. Well,
so
you know,
it's interesting that you say that you haven't really heard me sing and stuff, because that was primarily what I was before I became a producer. So I was a singer-songwriter with a guitar doing the whole acoustic thing. But I basically started violin when I was 5. I've been in orchestras, choirs. I was in a music art in school till I was 19. I grew up in a theater. I was there for about 4 nights a week. So
Cool.
I was singing there. My mom is a musician. My brother is a musician. So I come from very like that kind of like bohemian family where we all sit by a piano. Everybody starts playing and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah. It's really cool. And yeah, so I've been playing violin and piano and guitar and everything, to be honest, all my life. And I hated it till I was 19. Every single bit of it. Music theory, freaking hated it.
Yeah.
I hated conservatoire. I hated music. Everything that I've done, like in music, I wouldn't say like I hated everything, but it was just like, I was like, I'm going to be an actress. I'm never going to be a musician. And then I moved to Scotland. I moved to Glasgow. I was traveling around. I was 21. And then Glasgow music scene changed my life, because electronic music scene in Glasgow is just amazing.
Yeah.
I worked in clubs in there, and I borrowed this analog mixing desk from my friend. I worked in a place called Flying Duck in Glasgow. And also I went to get a £1 microphone from Poundland, like a karaoke
microphone.
Yeah. There's a song in
there's a song in that, yeah.
there's a song in Spotify recorded with it.
Okay.
And yeah,
I'm checking that out.
I'm all over
it. It's great. It has this like a really lo-fi vibe for some reason, but it's so good. Yeah, and I started with GarageBand, and then just started doing like funny jokes back to Finland to my family for my travels and stuff, like as a joke. It was because I've been always just writing songs. My brothers are nerds. I never knew until I was 23 that I was a nerd as well. So that happened. But yeah, and then I got Focusrite, Scarlett, the bundle, Classic, and I got Ableton Live Lite, and I just found my Ableton Live 8 version disc the other day.
Oh, wicked.
And it brought memories, and that's where it all started, in Glasgow in a little tiny apartment. And it was always the club hours at like 4 a.m. when I was making tracks and stuff. And then I went to study commercial music degree, found studios, and I was like, this is great. The school was very sexist, horrible, and it kind of lighted a fire under my ass of like, I'm going to show these these
Yeah, the
bitches
best
how it's done.
motivation, definitely.
And it's a sad thing that it needed to start from that place, but like a place of anxiety and kind of fights instead of enjoyment. But then I went to York University to do my master's, and that was the best thing I have ever done for myself, going to that. And the course was just changed my life, really. And rest is history. Then.
So, and what was the course you did? Because I know you looked at Push as a vehicle of composition, didn't you? Yeah. So.
Yeah, I did my master's dissertation about Push. So I was actually the only person for 15 people using Ableton, and they didn't teach Ableton in the course. Right. And I was just, they didn't teach any DAWs. So it was York University MA Music Production course. And in it, the main person teacher, he comes from a technical background, so like science, physics, and math. So he didn't teach us DAWs. He didn't teach us, MIDI, anything about like anything, and no production techniques. He only taught us the science. And in the first course, we coded plugins with JS coding in Reaper.
Reaper.
Yeah, and I coded myself for LFO. I had no idea what LFO was. I had no idea about coding. I failed all my math at school. I'm very dyslexic, I have the numberlexia situation as well. And I was also foreign, and I was there like, okay, I'm going to code a plugin. I have no idea about this, but
awesome.
Yeah, it was a great course because it really kind of taught me exactly that. Like, science is, if you understand science, you understand every single plugin they put in front of you.
That's good too. Yeah, it's worth really studying, isn't it? Like,
oh yeah,
physics. Yeah, I wish I'd have done physics at school properly. No. It's everyday practice now. Music production. It's like physics.
Well, it was more like it was more the fact that, example, the first course we had, like, you needed to record guitar and a singer, and we were like, well, this is a master's degree, that's going to be easy, and 5 people failed. Wow. Because we needed to write an essay on why this microphone is in this angle and why is it put into this room, and how does the signals and the early reflections and the direct sound and the different diffusion points of the room affect the microphones in a certain way. But to start thinking about sound in that level was what the masters was about, is not to think why, like, let's put U87 to here. It was more like, why?
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, why? So yeah, I have a single coming out in a couple of weeks, and basically, I kind of, like, during these times of learning music production, I kind of forgot completely how to enjoy music as a musician.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, I feel like it might happen to quite many people.
Yeah.
I'm 100% one of those people. Sometimes the stipulations that I put on myself, I end up, well, I'm not going to do anything but fail, and then all you're doing is constantly failing. And music, that thing that is your passion, that drives everything that you do, all of a sudden becomes something that I start to become afraid of, and I struggle to get back behind the desk. Do you know what I mean?
I know 100%, and this is why I study this topic right now, because I try to make an EP. I try to be the musician who I used to be, the person who could just compose and be free and enjoy and, not have any pressures. But now, especially as a producer, you are like, people judge you so differently. But that's in your head. You think people judge yourself, but you're actually judging yourself it. And it just blocks everything. So I attended in November to this She Knows Tech event, which was making a beat in 2 hours. We got a sample pack from Bad Snacks.
Bad Snacks. She's wicked.
Yeah, she's so cool.
Yes.
And the sample pack was really cool. And you needed to use 10 samples from it and create a whole song out of the 10 samples in 2 hours. And first time in my, I would say, 5 years, I was like, I love this song. It's fun. It's weird. I did everything, the lyrics, the vocals, everything in 2 hours. It's just something that brings a feeling in me.
That's
like
cool.
it's simple, but it just makes me do like this.
So would you say from what you've just said then, because this is something that anybody who knows me, I'm always banging on about this, even though I don't actually always employ it myself, but would you say that challenge, so straight away, we were talking about this before, like just before you came on, about setting a bit of a challenge, because I think it helps you, anyone.
Limitations.
Yeah, limitation. I always say this: minimize to maximize.
Yeah.
And I go on about it, and I actually did it myself, and I enforced it on myself, because when Live 10 came out, I just thought, oh, even more tools now, even more synths, even more this, whatever. And it's like, okay. So just before I went on the sort of crusade to be demoing Live 10 and showing everybody how to use it and artists on board and stuff like that, I made, and it's actually one of it's a Lostlight song now that exists called Lamp. And there was a lamp at the side of my bed. It's a bit of a departure, this, but it's on your theme. And you had to flick it to make it come on. You had to, like these lights you touch. And it made this it made a tone. I think it was an A. It's an A tone. So I kept doing that, and I thought, oh, yeah, I should sample that and do that. And the amount of times a week I go, I should sample that and make a tune. And I thought, right, okay. The voice inside my head went, do it. Make a track and only use that sample. Because I know people would make a full track in Ableton Live using just a kick drum. And it's all good, but, the final result was never really that amazing. But I mean, it's good if a minimal techno or something. It was kind of like, yeah, that works.
Yeah, but I heard it and went, well, that's got to be something, hasn't it? Because it was like there was so much in it, and then it's evolved. Sorry, you take over.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I got overexcited.
But I mean, the bit we won't go on about that. We'll save that for a future thing, because we're going to do that. I'm going to perform it and stuff. But the minimize to maximize, I just wanted to check with you that is the kind of how that worked for you, because as you gained all this knowledge over time, because you mentioned that you already knew about music theory, and that kind of just like, it's just a vehicle, isn't it? A tool, if you like. And then you learn how to put the mics in the right place. So basically, you knew technically everything that you needed to know to probably 20 times more than most artists you probably listen to, like, without a doubt. Because I mean, I can vouch for some of them that just like, you just get on with it. So when you were given the challenge, did that like open your mind up a little bit more to like think,
it's what I think. So yeah, I totally agree what you say. Is like, I like growing up in this conservatoire environment anyway, it's all about outcome, right? Like and that's what audio industry is about. That's what music industry is about, is outcome. So now I have started to break that down as like when I teach about music workflows and music production, creative workflows that enhance. And this is what I did my music, the master's dissertation was based on this. So how push to affect our creative workflow. It's on my website to read if someone wants to hear how
I'll read it. Yeah, I will.
How push to affects your creative workflow. And what I studied was that, because it's studied usually from a side of a human computer interaction, so from the side of the computer, but it's not from the studied from the side of a human. It's like, how does it affect in our brains? So yes, I totally think limitations, because when we are in the moment of creating, like when you jam with the band and it feels freaking good and you're all feeling.
I miss that.
It's usually very simple elements, isn't it? Someone does a rhythm, another one does something, and it comes out of maybe, let's say, 2 to 4 elements where it's based on. It's the kind of foundation of something that feels good, like a groove. And then after that, you start building. So I use a metaphor of like building a house. So you have first, you build the foundation, which is built between 2 to 4 sounds. So example, drum beat, bass, like chord progression, example. And imagine if foundation has cracks in it, water goes in, it doesn't sound good, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, you can't put walls on a foundation that has cracks, that is not stable. So we're basing on this really like solid foundation that even without anything else, it just has the the oomph, the feel,
the grunt.
And exactly. And then you put the walls in, then you put the decoration. And usually it's very simple. And as you said, yes, the 2-hour thing really brought that in me, because I use that workflow. So starting with a couple things, then starting add. And actually, I did it in 2 hours, but I did finish it
Yeah.
about 5 months. So
Sure, we get that. Same thing.
and I finished it 3 times. I had 3 different versions of the final. I have 3 masters of it. And
Whoa.
the last one, I sent it to my friend Toby, who's like my other pair of ears that I always send everything. And he said, well, the snare is a bit loud. And I was like, well, now you did it. Now I'm going to go back. And I went back to the version. And I put the snare a little bit back, but then I changed the synth, I changed the bass, I changed it. So the actual final version where I just went to fix the snare is actually going to be completely different, but not completely, but just feathered version. But now I'm very happy with it and I can't wait to get it out. And I have that doubt so much in my head now. Now when I said it's going to come out, now only thing in my head is just thinking like, people are going to think it's bad. People are going to think I'm a bad producer. It's too simple. It's a weird genre. It's kind of weird key. You know, like all these doubts and insecurities are like, oh my God, I'm fighting them so hard right now.
Can we get a preview? Can we have a listen?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
No, I can't. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I'm going to talk a little. I can talk a little bit about the production.
Yes,
process.
Absolutely. Because I think these lot here are like, ooh, yeah. So yeah, it's great to, like, cause the last one we had Mel. We had Mel on last time.
Oh, Mel is so lovely.
Oh, Mel's awesome, and she would just show us a little bit about hers, and it was like, oh, this is so good to see, and that was the night I was feeling really, I was holding it together, and I literally went after the broadcast straight to bed, ill for a month. But
you were ill.
Yeah. It was ill.
I heard this joke before.
Yeah.
She's got it. Ill, did he tell you that he was ill?
Oh, I didn't hear it before, Tim. No.
He'll tell you again. Don't worry if you missed it.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to share your screen and just and show us anything, we'll and just make sure you click share sound. I'm saying that like you probably do it every day. But
he's saying that because of me, Leena. That's why he's saying that.
Well, do you know what I'm going to show you is the first version and the last version. I want to show you 2 versions, and it's the last one and the first one and the last one. And this is the version that I created in the 2 hours. As I said, I'm not gonna play you the whole track because I want to keep some tension for the actual release date.
Of course.
But I'm gonna play in groups.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right. Yeah, this is how it is. It's fine. You know, this is great.
Yeah, and I'm gonna play the intro because that's completely different. So basically, the whole song is based on very cool, groovy bass. Is it here, all right?
Yeah, we're getting it. Go a bit louder if you want.
That's the loudest.
That's all right. We can hear it.
Cool. Don't worry.
Okay, so it's very like just very straightforward, and then we have drums that are also very straightforward, and they were all separate. So I took the different samples, put it in a drum rack, use the simplers to manipulate the drums a lot. And then I did, and this is my biggest regret, is that I did frozen them quite early in the progress when I was in the 2 hours. And it made my mixing really difficult. So I really wish I wouldn't have done that. But of course, in the moment, my computer has really small memory. So I couldn't really, I frozen a lot of stuff. But also it's a workflow, by the way, because then you can't go and change things. So you need to move forward.
Yes, I agree.
So here's the drums. It's just very... So this rhythm has really...
I'm already hearing it with that bass and it's going to sound great.
Well, I can play those 2 together.
Yes.
Ooh. That's dirty, that.
In the shoulders.
Shoulders as well.
It makes me happy, this beat. It makes me like, you cannot go like a little bit like this, like just up and down with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then the next thing that I wanted to show you is that the vocals. So I actually put Finnish lyrics on it.
All
And it was
right.
really weird that in a two like I did it in the last 15 minutes, the vocals, and I did this editing as well, so you can see that there's a bit of a chain going on in both of them. So there's a little bit of vocoders, choruses, flangers, yeah, there's just a lot of stuff. But so imagine this was in 15 minutes that I did this.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah. We wouldn't know. We wouldn't know.
So this is how. So it starts with this. Oh.
That's cool. That's beautiful, Leena.
And then, oh yeah, there's choruses. You can now imagine it.
Yeah. I'm there. I'm there.
But yeah, so it was just the same thing, and it's really like I just looped the same parts into here in the verse 1 and 2, and then I think this one is Frozen. I put the beginning parts I put in simpler and just use them to get this kind of like a chorus part.
Nice.
But as I said, so this has all evolved to the last. So again, this is the first version of the whole song. But the biggest part of this is that after the 2 hours, I went to my friend who's a violinist, and she does electronic violin, like a lot of with pedals. Wow. Right? And she works with pedals, and I asked her to give me a sample of violin that would fit, that I could make a C part to this song. And she came up with these kind of samples. So this is the original, what I put in. Very haunting.
Oh, I like that.
That's cool. That's cool.
I've got to say, Leena, like the notes that she's gone to there, especially the way she's been ending phrases, is like right up my street.
Same. As soon as she sent that, it's like very dark. There's something also very, because I am like from the eastern side of the Europe, and I feel like, especially for the like the music that comes from that side, that there was something like those dark melancholic notes, and I was just like, you were just getting it right here.
Yeah, and, like a little bit of Russian folk music that's coming.
There we go, exactly. And what I did, so I'm gonna take you now to the last version, so the one that is the actual. So I'm just gonna stop sharing for a moment and open the other file. So this is the. Now you're thinking like, how do those parts fit together?
Oh yeah. I've banked it. It's good that. What was saying? Somebody said atmospheric. The kick thuds. Yeah, spacious. People picking up on that vibe there. Good.
So now it's just a moment, it's loading. But so okay, here we go. And here we go for the last session. So this is the final session that I'm not going to change again. So as you can see that it looks a bit more complicated, a little bit more stuff in there. I've added some snaps into the core, so we have low end things going on here.
Wow.
Little bit of saturator going on there. Little snap.
All about that. Did you play the bass?
That's sampled. It's just I actually think it was vocals that I put in simpler. Yeah, it was a vocal sample that I put in simpler, and then I sliced it, and then I played it, and then I just manipulated so much that it became that bass, basically.
Awesome. That's good.
Okay, and then I have some synths going on as well, and they're adding, and you know what? We were talking about the ducking effect, and I think this is really interesting because, well, you were talking about the ducking effect. I was listening to you like before I came.
Oh, we, with the royal we, and all the people in the chat room, it's we were talking. It doesn't matter who said it.
yes, exactly. So I had a synth here in the version number 3, I guess. This is probably version number 15. And I had a synth that had a ducking effect on it. And it's really interesting that I went back, and what I did is that instead of the ducking effect, I put this sample in a simpler, put a radiator on it.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And then with the longer gate and the beat repeat, I managed to create actually much more interest. And yes, swing 32.
Ooh.
I managed to create much more interesting swing to it than a ducking effect. And it's more precise, because sometimes if you do ducking, you should either do it with gate if you want more precise.
Yeah.
Instead of compressor. And
I love it. You love it.
You're
rewriting the book here. You're rewriting the book.
I am. It's a Sean Connery compressor, how I say it.
Yes, indeed.
So this is what I came up with in the end. So that you can imagine with the drums.
And some bass, please.
I will, just for you. Yes.
Oh, thank you. It's just so good.
It's fun. I find it really
definitely.
fun.
We're going to be coming to you to sample that, LIINA. LIINA, can we just pinch a bit of that?
Yeah.
And so the interesting bits are the vocals are developed a lot, but I think the violins are the interesting bits I did with the final versions. So what we have here is example this type of bits, or basically transitional elements from the violins. Or here. And then what I did finally is, okay, so this is actually quite interesting. So what I did in the end, so you can see this part here and these green ones here. So what actually happened is I took the final track, which was everything here. I bounced it out and I actually took it to Logic. Oof. Because I know. I'm like, I'm wearing Ableton hoodie and everything. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
You don't need to apologize for anything that you've done. There's no allegiance. I haven't got an Ableton flag to the left.
Well, when I was in university teaching, you know what? I didn't teach Ableton, which I thought it was really ironic. I was teaching Logic and Pro Tools. So
me too. I had to teach Logic for a bit.
Had to. Love it. So no, they had this new like a device there that I just wanted to try out. So I took this track, which was the first mix or something.
Yeah.
I put it there, and they had this, like, it's really almost like a toy. I find it's one of those that you kind of like kids go and just like a TJ effecty kind of toyish thing. Yeah. You know, like that has tremolo and it has this like filters and stuff, and it looks all sparkly and fun. So what I did is that I took that and actually the beginning and the whole C part is just exported from that. So I have nothing else here. These are the original violins, but they are muted. So only this is playing on the C part. And this is from the Logic session.
And what was is it one of the plugins in the new, the most recent version of Logic?
It was the DJ performance effect rig type of thing. It has like 3 parts of it. I can't remember the name of it, but it was I just basically automated so much of it, and it's just created this.
All right.
And
let's have it.
Yeah, and also just to say that what I did for the violins, that I actually sampled them, the violin samples that you saw in the original version. So yeah, so this is what happened.
Okay.
That's ace. Like it.
And then this like stereo thing happening.
Oh, I like that. I don't know whether anyone else would get it. The stereo.
And there we go.
Okay. Teasing.
Tease.
Yeah.
I know. That's what I want to do. But yeah, so then I just cut some pieces, like the beginning was from there as well. Like, so it's just little pieces like that I took from there. And do I have time for one more thing?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Just the show here.
Yeah, as long as there's people here online, we just keep going. Yeah.
I just noticed how excited I go about explaining this. But
no, it's all wicked.
I actually doubled the vocals a little bit. So what I did is, firstly, is there anything here? No, that's the same. But when we go here, I did that little thing, and I thought actually it changed so much, because the whole song, there's this repetition on every single transition. There's either bass repetition or drum repetition or violin repetition. So there's either like, and it always goes that kind of stutter.
Yeah.
So a bit like what we saw in here, the ending. Type of thing. And so what I did in the vocals is mimic that by adding automation on the clip automation.
Oh yes, love a bit of clip automation.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. It just gets. Yeah, I love it.
Or maybe I actually might have frozen it.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
But basically, yeah, I just drew with pencil like I made sure that the fixed grid was exactly on the tempo. And then I used the pencil tool to basically draw these steps into the volume like that. So that we got this kind of like the stutter effect.
Neat.
And and then basically I just also found this quite interesting, that in here I doubled this track and then I just put it on octave lower, the other one.
Yeah.
And a little bit of a Complex Pro.
Of course. Yeah. Use those formants.
And I thought that the outcome was quite interesting. And you know what? I did that was because I needed something in the middle. And I don't know if you feel like sometimes we need something more like lower element in a certain area of the mix. And I feel like I needed to double it, not only to double and make it bigger, but also just to add an element to a stereo spectrum. So it's like, instead of thinking in harmonic quantity, we were thinking almost like a stereo spectrum quantity, like, and that was almost like after I mixed it already 5 times and I was like, something's missing from there.
Yeah.
So I added that. So it's just quite subtle, but it's here.
Yeah, I'm trying to look from the waveforms, like the there's more on, well, the panning effects is more on the left hand side than the right in certain places and things, isn't there? So
Exactly, and that's why I went for also put a utility on the double tracked and put it as a mono.
right.
So then basically what we have is this very wide stereo effect that goes from right and left, and it's quite wide sounding. But then the double is really on the mono in the middle.
We do that with vocals as well, just because like if you pan like guitars out left and right really wide and you do it with vocals, we found that when we're mixing stuff, when you listen to it, we do we call it the teen test. It's a recent thing called the teen test, and basically the teen test is you play your mix through a phone full blast just through the speakers and see what you can hear, because that's how most people listen to music, unfortunately.
Yeah,
But for those people who listen to it properly, I use utility a lot, because I'll do like a really what do you call it, like a parallel channel, and I'll just put it mono, and just like compressed, really, really small dynamic range, so that in the middle of a mix, that if you had to go to the master and just press mono, you've always got the detail in the middle somewhere, you know, like for the clarity, no matter what style of music, actually, because when the chorus kicks in and everything goes out wide, it just drops in the middle. And if you want the definition of like a vocal, you just, you know, I use that mono, compressed, limited, right in the middle, and then you just turn it up slowly, and you go, and it just all works. Well, most of the time.
And one thing that I actually read that when I was learning about this was really a good tip, where is that when you're actually mixing, is mix first in mono. And I always thought people who say like, oh, make sure that it sounds good in mono.
Yeah.
But I actually think it's a really good idea of first checking, as we said, like first kind of almost detect like, is everything working first in mono? And then we're going to go and we can then check it like while we're mixing.
Yeah.
But just kind of first detect like, is all the elements there in the middle that we were needing, the support and body.
And you talked about confidence before. When you actually do, if you get used to it and put the utility on the master, put it in mono, forget about it, get through the song, and you think, it just doesn't quite sound good, but it's working. And then when you uncheck that mono, the feeling is awesome. It's just like boom, it just opens up like you've just kind of lifted this veil over it, and it's just like, oh, great feeling. Then you go, actually, it's pretty good in mono as well. But if you can do that, I mean, the little things to try, but it's kind of just getting it. Because what I was going to ask you now is, from here now, I mean, you've already mentioned you've done 5 masters and stuff like that, but I seen a video today on YouTube. It might be today, yesterday, and it's called "How Do I Know When My Track Is Finished?" Right, and that's like, well, I mean, you've seen the meme, like art is never finished, it's only abandoned, and it's just like, you've got to put a line under it, and I think this is what Tim and I'm sure you're going to agree, a deadline is when it's finished, or like a project, a goal. And that's why I was talking about remixes before, that if you do a remix for someone else, it has to be finished by a certain date, because you're working to their timeline. That's when it's finished, because you're delivering it, and that's it. You've run out of time, because you're just saying, well, that's it now, I'm done. If there's no deadline, I'm sure, Tim will back me up on this, then we just never finish it, because it's never finished. You could just, every time you open the project, you can do something else, can't you? Tweak it.
I feel like for me, it needs to be like, I sent this track example to my friend Toby. And so we studied in masters together. And I trust his ears. I know his ears. Like, I know what he can hear. And as he said to me first time, if you think it's okay, tell me that it's okay, and then I trust you. And he said it's okay. So then I'm releasing it because now he's it's okay. So I'm trusting him now. I'm not trusting myself anymore. So kind of putting that somewhere else, the responsibility. So it's then Toby's fault if it's not ready.
I like it.
Not mine.
Well, there you go. So straight away, it's like you've literally assigned that decision onto someone else. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Can I just say one tip that I figured out, like for mixing, it's that just made this track so much more interesting, was like also using mono to not only from 200 to 400 to widen things, but I've used so much in here to go from like really quick, like this thing here, where I go from width from either from the 200 to 400 in a really small time, or I go like in a certain section from mono to 400, and just like as an effect, almost like you go suddenly like mono, and then you're like,
yeah, that might not come across on the Zoom because we go from Zoom into my interface, and that's it. It might not come across, but we look forward to the proper version so we can hear it. But that's good. So basically, you've automated as a kind of like a riser in a sense, they're just going and popping out of the mix, just kind of.
Yeah, so it's kind of riser, but it's more like stereo riser in a way, because it's just this.
Yeah.
It's just that, but it's a very short, but it just makes that kind of like
great on headphones. Yeah.
Effect.
Oh, wicked. No, that's really good. I love little sneaky automations and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
That's like icing on the cake, isn't it? Really, that's that kind of like elements of automation and control. So when will we get to hear this track in its glorious full stereo?
Shameless plug. Get it out.
Well, it's out 7th of May, so in a couple of weeks, and it will be released, I will hope, well, of course, all the platforms, but go to my YouTube channel on the 7th of May. You can just go and subscribe now, so you will then, find it.
I'll put the links back in. We put them in before.
But because it comes out with a music video, and it's a self-made music video, which is, I had so much fun, and it's me dancing in a Yorkshire alley in this song. And I have my friend editing it right now in a style of like 90s VHS situation.
Wicked.
And it has a lot of dance moves on, and I can tell you I'm not a dancer at all, and it's not meant to be sexy. It's like the opposite of sexy. So it's I'm very excited of it.
It's interesting you said the 90s VHS. Sorry, Si, because
go on, man.
Luke Denning said earlier. He said, "Oh, it's
90s
rave.
rave.
90s rave." Yeah.
No,
I've
just put that. So that's the 7th, which is that a Friday?
That's a Friday. So it comes out on Friday, but then I have a live performance with Push 2, Ableton, and my new toy.
Oh yeah, the Akai MPD.
LPD 8.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, I got this new toy to accompany Push, and I'm just gonna have like a live looping version of this song.
Oh, wicked.
So that's on the Sunday, and then I'm gonna have on my live stream. So I've
just posted the link to the. Yeah, I was gonna ask you then. Tell us about your new, because you've got LNA Does streaming stuff. Now I've just posted the link to that one, and so far this afternoon you had 5 subscribers. I subscribed to it. Now you've got 7. So if everybody subscribes to the LNA Does streaming stuff, I've just put the link in the chat, so even on the replay it will be there as well. So,
amazing.
So
it will be basically on that Sunday. I will talk about this making process. So it might be a bit of a interesting one because you're already kind of seeing it, but I'm going to talk about that. But basically the streaming channel will be, so the idea came from the fact that I used to do improv theater. I was one of those kids, the really irritating improv kids. And so the idea is that I'm going to try to find the enjoyment of music by making it with people. So you can come there, and I'm going to make tracks in 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, by saying like, okay, you tell me a genre, you tell me lyrics, I'm gonna do it in an hour and a half or something.
Awesome.
And I'm gonna start posting it on Wednesdays, but before you guys. So it's gonna be, so if you want to come and
Glad
see
to hear it.
but before you guys, so it ends before you start. So then you can come and you can have a streaming night with
I mean, you know, I think most of the people that we've got our hardcore audience, which is thankfully joined us again, and but you know, most of the people are replays, you know, like afterwards. It is never a good time, but I think the fact that something is live gives it that, you know, it just is what it is, and that's kind of what we went for. So
also gives us a deadline. It's got to be done.
Well, deadline is now.
That's it. Yeah, I decided that I'm gonna post every single Wednesday. So I'm gonna do first hour and a half in Patreon. No, 1 hour in a Patreon account. So my Patreon, we're gonna actually do a remix together with my patrons of this song,
Awesome.
and then I'm gonna mix it in front of them. So I'm gonna create the whole track and mix it with the samples that they give me from the track. Like I gave them the stems, they create samples.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I create so I create it in front of them. So then we're like doing it together. And then so I'm gonna stream first there, and then I'm gonna come to the public platform to stream publicly for everybody. Sounds on every Wednesday.
Awesome.
Before you guys.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. So just the name of the track, am I right? Is it called Helsinki? Because I saw the name of
no,
it's not called that.
It's called No, I'll Do It.
It's called No, I'll Do It. Right, I saw that as well. Yeah. No, so, I'll do it. No, get out of the way.
Yeah, no, I'll do it.
I'll do it.
It's more like I feel like I want to say it more like no, I'll do it.
Right, we hear you.
That's like what I get when I offer to make tea.
No,
I'll do it.
No, I'll do it.
So
go on.
Oh no, you go for it. Tim. I was just going to ask you just to clarify. So the other link we've put in there is the streaming stuff. That's where the performance will be that you're talking about. That's the Sunday.
No, so it's on my channel. So my LNA Does Audio Stuff channel is the music video as well as the actual like live performance, and then the streaming of the actual song, like of me making it, will be on that Sunday on the streaming channel.
Okay, right. So
many places now.
Exactly, yeah. But I think it's just going right back to the beginning when you first came on, because the whole kind of, like you said, I'm now full time with this because like Tim and I are full time jobs. I mean, they are related to the the industry that we're working and things like that, but it's still like it's hard work, isn't it? Like even just what you've mentioned then, as because you are basically like you're a producer, you're your own manager, you're all these roles, and it kind of seems commonplace these days that I know sort of the first person that I was aware of that was doing this was like Rachel K. Collier, and she's doing so much. And even though she had a manager and stuff like that, the headspace needed to do all this, it is bonkers, isn't it?
It is, and it's been something that I have really. So I quit the lecturing job exactly a year ago.
Yeah.
So I've been unemployed. I've been self-employed.
Self-employed, unemployed are very similar, you know.
Oh my God, no. Like I have had the opposite experience, and I'm really lucky, I think. But then, to be honest, I think I've caused it for myself that because of the constant YouTube and stuff, it's been quite intense, and there is other project that I'm doing right now that is really intense. So I think it's about just management and being very, you know what, I was just thinking about the other day that I think because I went to, conservatoire and orchestras and choirs and theater all my life. So I'm kind of used to do a lot of stuff, but I feel like a lot of it is the fact that I have this certain, like, if I decide to do something, I'm going to do it. And my mom is an artist. So she has the attitude, and she always said, like, if you do something, do it properly. And I'm like, well, why not to do it then properly? Because it's only going to, be good for everything. So I might as well just go full in. And in couple years, like under a year now, I'm like totally like surviving just by doing self-employment stuff.
That's
So,
amazing. That's really, really good to hear. Good,
so
good. Well, so we're going to look forward to the release. We'll check that out. Any way we can post this, and what we're still trying to build a bit of a community. We just I've just seen Alfie there was saying where are the updates on these lives posted. Just make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to LIINAs. Next week we've got Helena Rice as well. Subscribe to her as well. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things that you can organize your notifications, can't you? You know, I mean, just subscribe, hit those bells and things like. You know, you always hear YouTubers saying that, and when you're on the other side of it, it's like, yeah,
please do,
please do, because it kind of qualifies what you're doing, and it kind of there's so many reasons. I'm just checking it, saying there's no data on the stream, and now it says excellent connection. Weird stuff in here. So
yeah, just subscribe. It honestly, like, it means so much. It's a small thing for people to do, but it's a big thing for us who do this as a thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, so what we'll do, we'll leave it there, because I'm guessing we could talk all night on this, and I'm sure everybody's got stuff to get on with. But so,
one last thing before we disappear.
Okay, go on, mate. Go on.
So, LIINA, we made a suggestion earlier. You said you were in the chat room about getting all of our guests to contribute to a track and then getting our audience to arrange it.
Make a version of it.
Would you be game for something like that? Because you're very busy. We know that.
I'm not sure about this schedule right now, if I'm honest, but definitely we can keep that in mind.
Yeah,
cool. That's good enough for us.
Yeah, we're gonna like lay it out properly and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I think there's
keep me in loop, because that sounds
yeah,
like
sure. I mean, it's gonna, you know, we're gonna just make it. It'll be pretty low impact, to be honest. From you, you can just throw us something that you've not used and whatever. You know, just go, yeah, use that. That'll be okay. I heard. Have you heard just for anybody that's interested? Have any of you seen the latest Andrew Huang four producers, one sample? If you haven't, watch it, because one of our certified trainers from America, Laura Escude, is on it, and it's Jamie Liddell has been doing some stuff with Andrew Huang, and he gave a part of one of his songs that he wasn't using, and you should hear what they've done with it, like Flux Pavilions on there, and it's just. The Flux Pavilion one is awesome. You should check it out, Tim. He's like a drum and bass and dubstep guy from way back. And what he's done to the track is just, he plays guitar and bass on it and vocals and all. It's just amazing. But I love that kind of, that concept of that. So we're not going to copy him or steal his vibe. We're going to do something different.
I feel like that's a thing that everybody enjoys, that, because again, it's about that enjoyment of just making music. And I feel like one of the most thing that I get on my email, like mailbox, is people wanting to do that similar concept with me. And I'm always kind of saying like, well, we shouldn't really copy that because that's already Andrew's thing. So I think, but at the same time, I feel like sample flipping and just all that is that's so good fun.
Yeah, it's been going since like the hip hop days. It's nothing new. It's nothing new. It's just the format. But I think what we're trying to do is kind of like incorporate our audience and community and just kind of make it so it's worth tuning in to see what happened. You know, it's just one of those things. So
such a good idea.
Yeah. So we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for attending and coming in and giving us all this insight. Thanks to everybody for showing up. This first one back after our hiatus. So why? But anyway, we'll go back. It should be all right. Let me just check it's still there. Yeah, we're all right. I don't know why. Crazy. But yeah, so next week we've got Helena Rice, and she's doing her performance this Friday on Facebook Live. So do check that out. So as we're playing out, I'm going to play her last video, I think, Terrain. And check this out. This is great. So I'm going to play this, and we'll leave you until next week. And I'll say goodbye to you as well, LIINA, in a second, but we'll play out with this. So thanks for having you It's been great.
Thanks for
having us.
everybody.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for doing all the great stuff. And we look forward to the release. So the name of the track, just so we look out for it, is got No, I'll Do It.
Yeah, just think when people want to make tea and stuff, and then, no, I'll do it.
No,
when Tim's girlfriend asks him to make tea. Oh, sorry, when Tim offers to make tea.
So, no, I'll do it.
I'll do it.
So with that,
I'll do it.
We'll leave you with this great track from Helena Rice. Come over next week and check out Helena's performance, because she's going to show us how it actually went down. So I'm quite excited about this. I watched the last one. It was amazing. So here we go. Signing off. Thanks for attending, guys. We love you. Come back for more.